Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're gonna take a look at the team that I hit legend with this season for Pokemon Go in the Halloween Cup. It's going to be with Mudshot variant of the Toxicroak. Something that you most likely did not really expect, but honestly this Pokemon was a ton of fun. Let's take a look at the first battle already. Dynamic Punch is coming through here, and Dynamic Punch is going to hit and knock out the opponent's Guzzlord. Main idea behind this team, by the way, is basically trying to win the lead with the Toxicroak with a Mudshot, and then align your Pokemon in the back. The Pokemon in the back basically have nearly a perfect core in the current meta, so there's not a lot of Pokemon that really break those together. And if you can align your Pokemon, you basically win already. And honestly, on paper, this idea was really good. Like, you're honestly really good. But when I played it, basically, when I built this team, I looked at all the battles that I did for the first 2 days of the Halloween Cup. I looked at all the leads that I encountered, and I saw an insane amount of Nidoqueen, insane amount of Toxicroak, an insane amount of Dragalge, all like the Pokemon that you would be able to beat. Here, nice boost by the opponent, doesn't really matter though. That you would be able to beat with your Mudshot variant of the Toxicroak. As soon as I played this team, all stuff that I encountered was like Golurk, the Peloscent, like honestly literally all the hardest answers to this Pokemon, which was insane. Moving on to the next game here, we're gonna encounter Frostless, which is kind of funny. By the way, shoutouts to this player. You're gonna see it why I want to give a shout out to this player. But yeah, I had a lot of way worse matchups now all of a sudden in the lead. You're gonna see it most likely as well. But you don't actually see my actual legend run here, sadly, because my phone corrupted all the data overnight. Like, I woke up and the entire recording folder was empty, so that's great. So I had to do some more battles, also why this video comes out a little bit later. But honestly, like, the amount of really horrible leads that I encountered was wild. I basically, with this team, lost 90% of the leads, which is kind of awkward for a team where it's basically all about winning leads. And here you see me doing something interesting. You see me going into my Toxapex over my Guzzlord. Guzzlord is the way better answer against a Greninja, because Greninja is going to only do a resisted damage against you, while here Night Slash is neutral. Thing is, I expect already a Pokemon back from the opponent. If it is what it is, I just laugh, because I know that they start a move here, and I know that I would have been able to knock out my Guzzlord if I let them basically go up against my Guzzlord here, if I went into my Guzzlord against the Greninja. And yes, they're running the Shiftry team that I showcased yesterday. This team got me really close to Legend, basically gained me way more points as well than this team here. Definitely check out the video from yesterday about Shadow Shiftry. So honestly, shout out to this player, really cool. Moving on to the next game, we're going to encounter a Gels, and this was also something that I didn't encounter all the time earlier. Like, literally, this Pokemon is completely destroying, of course, my lead here. It's not as bad as it would be, of course, with Counter, as you're going to still do some damage, and you can still actually survive one Shadow Ball here, usually, which is kind of nice. But still, it is kind of wild, the amount of really hard walls I encountered with this Pokemon. Nidoqueen is completely gone from the lead, at least for me. I don't encounter any Toxapex, because, like, if you actually think about it, like, Mudshot variant of Toxicroak also beats Toxapex, beats Tentacruel, beats Carbink, beats basically most of the main meta Pokemon. If you encounter Greninja in the lead, then most likely want to swap out here, because of course the counter damage would be super effective. You don't run counter, but they don't know it if they're going to encounter it in the lead. But I don't encounter any of those Pokemon anymore. Since I played this team, I played now a total of 5 sides with this team. I think I didn't encounter a single Greninja, as far as I can remember, and I didn't encounter a single Nidoqueen or something like this. I literally just got hardwalled the entire time, and I don't want to blame any mystical algorithm which other people try to do. That's kind of normal for metas to evolve like this, by the way, over time. The thing is that a lot of times, especially with like those cups where some stuff changes, here for example, Carbink was around, like this cup wasn't available for a year, some certain stuff changes, also Greninja for example. For the first 2 days, you're going to encounter a different meta that you're going to encounter for the next few days. Usually the first 2 days are the best days of a new meta, because afterwards people just figure out like the most annoying strats, but so, like, basically it's normal that the meta kind of shifts, but honestly it didn't really shift into the favor for Toxicroak in the lead. It would have been so great in the first 2 days, I would imagine. Moving on to the next game, we're going to encounter an Azumarill, and here's something where I'm not sure if I actually like Dynamic Punch. Dynamic Punch looked better on paper, that's why I went for it over Sludge Bomb, But you definitely need Mud Bomb, by the way. Mud Bomb is very needed because you need it for Toxicroak, for Toxapex, for Carbing, for basically everything you kind of need this. Here, I would have loved to get to another charge move there, but I didn't because the opponent sniped me with a Wormadam. Also, Wormadam is one of the Pokemon that really are coming up now. But of course, the opponent never knows what kind of moves that I run, which is kind of decent for me. Some fairies are going to shield up the Sludge Bomb, and I think Sludge Bomb most likely would have been a little bit better than Dynamic Punch on this Pokemon as well. Yes, you saw in the beginning the Gustlord getting a one-shot by me, but I feel like still that the Sludge Bomb would have been the better play. Here we're going to encounter the Scissor, and I'm fairly certain I boost with this one. I don't think you can see it here because I went for my own charge move, but I feel like at least that the fast move is doing way more damage now from the opponent afterwards. Yeah, definitely. Like, honestly, this is not the damage that you would expect from them. So, like, they definitely boosted there. You couldn't see it because I went for my own charge move, which is such an oversight as well. Again, like, honestly, Niantic has to hire some people that's more for, like, the UI of, like, something, the user experience in general, because it's just so awkward that you cannot see the boost during the game. Like, you see it in every other game. In the main CS games, you have, like, a screen for, like, the boost that the opponent says or, like, the effects on the field. It's just really not great, yeah, UI for Pokemon Go PvP yet, even though it of course changed to the better over time already. Back in the day, if you played during the first few seasons, you always had to press a certain button on the bottom right to open a switch menu, which always cost you like way more time, is like way more annoying, especially as the Pokemon swap in between as well. It was wild. Next one, going to be the Jelson and the Detail again. We're going to, of course, get walled there with this Pokemon, but we can just try to go for some Mud Bombs. Here, usually I stay in. There are some leads. For example, if you encounter a Pelossand, what's called the other, like basically all the Golurks of this world or whatever, you kind of want to try to swap out eventually into your Toxapex. At least that's what I did. But it's not really like beautiful usually, so like it's always kind of a little bit awkward. Here we're gonna get out the Greninja, which is going to be nice for me as I can still go for a charge move. This should get the knockout against the opponent. And honestly, something that I would also do in the current meta, I would not run the Brutal Swing anymore on the Gustlord in the back. I would actually go ahead and go for Sludge Bomb instead, because there is a huge increase of like Azumarill in the current meta, which was not the case in the first 2 days either. That's also why this team didn't really care too much about having the coverage for the Poison type, basically, like Poison type coverage in the lead with Sludge Bomb, because I didn't encounter any Azumarills during the first 2 days, really. Like, there were like a few in the bag or whatever, which would have been fine for me because I have my Toxapex in the bag. But there is an insane increase in Azumarill during this time now. Like, I don't know why really this happened. To be fair, I don't know if it's actually that great in the current meta either. But there's definitely the increase, so definitely be aware of that. Here we're still gonna get to another charge move. This is enough to knock out the opponent with this Dragon Claw from the Gustlord. Now they survive with a Water HP and we can move on. Next game, we're going to encounter another Azumarill in the lead. This is going to be an interesting matchup. Again, we can try to go for some Mud Bomb damage against the opponent, but as you're going to see here, we can still go for one charge move there. This is going to maybe get the shield. Let's see. It does not. Maybe we're going to get a shield with the next one. Thinking that we're going to go for the Sludge Bomb. We do not get a shield here either, but we at least get some damage onto the opponent as they're going to go for their own charge move. Being the Ice Beam, we can still go for another charge move afterwards, but they decide to waste all their energy here. And again, the opponent would be in a range where Sludge Bomb from Gustlord would be enough to knock them out, but yeah, I feel like it would have been a better play. Against most of the Steel types anyway, it's enough to go for the Dragon Claw and like some Dragon Tail damage because they're all kind of squishy. So I actually don't really feel like you need the Dark type coverage on Gustlord. Of course, you can also go ahead and go for the Swilus if you don't have a Gustlord, of course, available. This would be working out for you as well. But here we're going to be able to still go for a Dragon Claw against the opponent. But of course I'm going to let this move go through. But now imagine I had Sludge Bomb on the Gustlord. I feel like this would have been such a cool play to just go here for the Sludge Bomb against the Azumarill instead of like overfarming quite a lot and try to catch a move, which did not work out as the opponent has a Wormadam in the back. This game is actually, by the way, not over yet because Wormadam is running Iron Head plus Bug Buzz usually. Two moves are going to be resisted by a Toxapex, so while our fast move is double resisted, their charge moves are all resisted. And as you see, the Bug Buzz is coming through. Still, of course, their fast move is super effective, so it's going to be an awkward matchup. But it's actually not as bad as it might look like. It's still kind of bad, to be fair, but it's still going to be kind of close. Maybe I still have a chance here if I can go ahead and go for a charge move with my Gustlord. That's going to go through here as well. Dragon Claw's coming through. We're going to see here the shield coming up from the opponent. I can still go for a brutal swing, and again, if I just had my, if I just had a sludge bomb or something there, it would have been so cool. So I feel like this would have been a cool change for this Pokemon as well, as we can now move on into the next game. Let's see if we're going to win the lead here. For the next game, we will encounter the Toxicroak against a Charger Bug. This is not a winning lead for me. And here, of course, Sludge Bomb would have been better, but I looked at the matchup as well. It does not make you win the matchup. Like, you're still going to lose. Charger Bug is just too bulky and does too much damage with a Volt Switch against you that you don't really have the best time here. Also, what I have to say, I think my Toxicroak's IV kind of really hurt this Pokemon quite a bit, with a Mudshot at least. With Counter, it's not really that bad because you have some decent breakpoints with it. But with Mudshot, especially against Dragalge, I don't know if there are the battles in here or if those were corrupted. But against Dragalge, for example, you're not going to be able to get to 3 Mud Bombs, sadly, unless the opponent messes up with their own charge move and give you a free fast move, basically. You have no chance of getting there, but I'm fairly certain that you would be able to get there otherwise. If you just had a few better AVs or whatever, this would be really nice. Here again, this is basically what I encountered most of the time with this team. Golurk lead was like so common all of a sudden. Like literally everybody was playing either Golurk lead or Pelosand lead or the Runerigus lead. Like they were everywhere. But this is also good information for you, because maybe you can just try to counter those, because you can't just try to go ahead and use something else there. But here we're actually going to be able to have a great matchup here, as we're going to be able to, counter this opponent's Quillfish, which is wandering Water Gun, which is amazing for me. I don't see the play for Water Gun in the meta, by the way. I don't know what they try to do with this. Maybe for Carbink, but still you're going to be better most likely with the Poison Sting, as they're going to forfeit. Moving on, we're going to encounter Golbat in the lead, and this is basically exactly kind of what I always encounter. Like, if you look at the leads here that I encountered with this team, basically I lost everything there. I think I had like 1 or 2 neutral ones, and that's basically it. But here we will see the opponent can go for a Poison Fang. We can still go ahead and go for the Sludge Wave here. But again, you see here, I put in my losses and whatever. I'm not the kind of person, like, I know, like, I see it always in the comment section. I actually don't really watch too much Pogo YouTube myself, but I see it always in the comment section that, like, people say, oh yeah, you faking stuff, or like whatever, or it's nice that he shows some losses. I never fake stuff. I always tell basically the truth about every team and everything. So yeah, if you appreciate that, feel free to leave a like on the video as well, of course. But I always going to say if something is decent or not. And right now, for example, a Mudshot variant of the Toxicroak is very decent on paper, but in the current time, at least, the meta shifted kind of towards it being not as great, sadly, as it was in the first 2 days, most likely. The meta kind of shifted, sadly, towards a different kind of lead meta, at least. Next game, we're going to encounter here the Toxicroak against Dragalge, and this basically is exactly what I mean. Here we can actually take a look at this matchup. I don't know if the opponent messes up or not. Seemingly they don't mess up here, and we're most likely not going to be able to win the lead because of this. And I'm fairly certain there's going to be a reason because of my own AVs on my Toxicroak. I feel like if I had like 0 attack, I would have been fine here, but as we're going to see, I can still go for another charge move there. Let me actually check this real quick on the side as well, if like my IVs really mattered here, because as you can see, I just barely don't reach this one. And I'm fairly certain that I most likely would have been able to reach it if I had just better IVs on my Toxicroak. So let me check this really quick on the side. So if you have like a better one, you're most likely going to be better off against the Dragalge in the matchup, which is actually fairly important, to be fair. And actually, no, never mind. Even if you have good IVs, you're not going to be able to get to the last one, seemingly. Oh no, you're actually going to be able to do this, but the opponent would be able to survive it then. So I guess I have like a break point with a Mud Bomb, because I had a different game, which I don't know if it's in there, where I was actually able to win the lead against the Dragalge, and maybe that's still in there as well. So I guess like maybe you need a little bit attack to do a little bit more damage, because you actually get to the move, but you're not going to be able to knock them out with it, which is kind of funny. And we have the Dragalge here. Most likely this is the matchup that I was talking about. Let's take a look at this one. Does the opponent... Yeah, the opponent gives me here the free fast move by doing a pretty bad job in terms of the fast move alignment there. So we'll be able to go up to 99 energy. And like this, I'm going to have this extra 1 fast move, which is going to be super important, because I'm going to be able to still go for another one here. And this is going to get the shield. And I can still reach my next one just barely 1 turn before I would get KO'd. And this is going to be enough to knock them out, which would have not been the case with like a lower attack IVs, I guess. But we're going to now see the Swallowed in the back. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and go for my Toxapex here. And also, by the way, at the end of the video, we're going to take a look at my Pikachu Libre that I got. But here we're going to be able to just go ahead and go for the Brine, which is going to be fine, as we're going to be able to hit the opponent low. Why did I decide to go into my Toxapex instead of my Guzzlord? Guzzlord does of course more damage with its fast move and also the charge move against the opponent, but also you're going to be weak against the Ice Beam, as well as I am expecting something in the back where I still need my Guzzlord at this point, because of what they had in the lead, because what they had here. I'm fairly certain that they're most likely going to have something in the back where my Guzzlord going to come in clutch, so let's take a look if that's going to be actually the case, and it will be the case. So we're going to be able to win this final game here. And we can check out my Pikachu Libre, and as we can see here right now, this is by the way not slowed down. I always feel like if you see like sped up gameplay and you then see like the normal one, it looks like so slowed down, but it's just the normal gameplay here. But that's going to be it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.